Hello, welcome to English 111, Introduction to Literature. Do all the English classes have to be this boring? I don't necessarily think so, but let's try to make this class a little fun. My name is Eunha Jung. I will be your instructor this quarter. I hold my degree in linguistics. Both language and literature are my passions. The first question that you need to ask yourself is, am I ready? Am I ready for Introduction to Literature? But also, am I ready for an online class? Some of you might have taken online classes before, but if you haven't, online classes are very, very different from on-ground classes. It's a completely different animal. The platform we'll be using for this purpose will be a website called angel.olympic.edu. We'll get into details of that later. Okay, for you to succeed in online classes, you will need serious self-discipline, motivation, time, support, technology, and computing skills. Let's talk about self-discipline. If you still have your parents waking you up in the morning, you either need to get rid of that habit, or if you don't think you could, perhaps this is not the right course, or perhaps you're not ready for an online class quite yet. Motivation, there are two different kinds of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic. Extrinsic motivation is something like you work really hard so that you can get money or get promoted. Intrinsic motivation, on the other hand, comes from within and is ultimately much more effective and satisfying. But it's, it needs to come from that place deep inside of you where you have this joy of learning, joy of language, joy of literature. So that's what's going to make you succeed. Time. A lot of people overlook this very, very important commodity. And some people think that they can hold down 2 jobs, have 3 kids, and a spouse, and an ailing parent, and then still take 5 credit classes, multiple 5 credit classes. But it's just, there are only so many hours in a day, and there's only so much energy we've got, so you need to be realistic. For 1 hour of a class period, you're expected to study for 2 hours. So that means for a 5 credit classes, you're expected to spend altogether 15 hours a week, which is a huge commitment. Support, both emotional, financial support from friends and family, all that stuff is important. Let's talk about technology because it's an online class. You will need the high-speed internet, definitely, and the thumb drive to save all of your work. Microsoft Office, you only need Microsoft Word for this class. If you don't have it, you can go to their website and get Microsoft Word at a discounted price because it will be for educational purposes. Or you can download a program called OpenOffice, which is very similar to Microsoft Office, although it lacks some functionalities. For the purposes of this class, however, you should be fine. And you do this by going to openoffice.org and a backup computer. I don't know if you have ever encountered the dreaded blue screen on the computer. That means your computer has died. If it hasn't happened to you yet, just assume that it will happen to you this quarter. Okay, so that means you will have a friend whose house you can visit in the middle of the night to finish your work, or go to your parents' house and finish the work. Remember though, the computer labs on campus are available. Computing skills. You need some rather competent computing skills for this class. What to expect? Short assignments, journal, final paper, discussion forums, literary term quizzes. Okay, let's look at short assignments. You will be expected to keep a literature blog. You wouldn't be the main author of the blog because everybody will be participating. You're expected to just minimally contribute one entry. This is the place where you can share your poetry, your short stories, or even just a little episode that happened yesterday that made you think about something a little more profound than our everyday dealings, or something that moves you, made you think about beauty. And it doesn't all have to be writing. It can be visual art, or it can be musical. So any of these artistic things that you want to share, that's what the literature blog is for. And the first paper you need to write is a paper called My Literacy. I want you to go back to the time when you first learned to read and first learned to write. You might not recall very well, but I bet you anything that you were very, very, very excited about your emerging literacy. I want you to go back and kind of rekindle that joy. And think about what your life would have been like without literacy. And the third assignment is this movie called Smoke Signals, which is partly based on a short story in the textbook. And you can either write a comparison type of paper between the movie and the short story, because these are two completely different media, or you can analyze the symbolism that's this movie, and the story are filled with symbols, so you can analyze those as well. Poem emulation is, okay, you're gonna look at all the poems in the book, and I want you to pick one that really appeals to you and write your own original poem in the style of the poem that you like. So you're emulating the style, but the content is entirely your own, and it's going to be peer graded. And the last one is a dramatic scene. You know, all around us there are dramas and comedies, all these ironic and funny, sarcastic things happening all around us. Why don't we capture it into a scene? So it's going to be a one act, one scene, very, very short play. And that's also going to be peer graded. And the journal is pretty much based on the reading response questions at the end of each assigned reading. And the journal is basically a process kind of document, because it's going to end up being a huge Word document where you just write down without censoring yourself, without worrying about grammar, vocabulary, or anything like that. Just respond to the readings. Or if you want to add some other elements to it, more like a learning journal, like what the reading made you think about, beyond the questions that were asked in the reading response section, you can do that also. Final paper is a literary paper. We'll get into the details of that in class later, online of course. Discussion forums are basically online equivalents of class discussions. Since we don't have class discussions, we will have to do something similar. So whenever you see a coffee cup like this, that means let's sit down, have some virtual coffee, and talk about literature. And for each forum, you're supposed to contribute. Let's go back. You're supposed to contribute at least 3 entries. And the 3 entries can be any combinations of new posts or replies. The next thing is weekly literary term quizzes. And actually put together the literary terms that are found in the textbook. Okay, the textbook consists of two different types of pages. Okay, the first is where, let's say it's a section on short stories. It introduces the genre, it talks about the elements that are found in the genre, and then it's followed by the real short stories. Okay, in the first section, you will see a lot of bold-faced words and phrases. Those are key literary terms that you should know and memorize. So I created flashcards for those, and after a unit is over, the following Monday, you'll be tested on those terms. And it's found on this website called Quizlet.com. The textbook. It's an anthology. Anthology is a collection of original works called Portable Literature, Reading, Reacting, and Writing. And it's the 7th edition, and make sure that it's the right edition, because otherwise the page numbers will be very confusing. Okay, the platform we'll be using is called Angel. It's found in angel.olympic.edu. And then you'll be taken to this page, and if you haven't done this before, I want you to follow the directions here and sign in. On the right side, you see these different functionalities that you should have on your computer available. Make sure that all of these things are checked and green. On my computer, I cannot make this go away, but this, the pop-ups, it just means pop-ups are not allowed. You can set it so that the pop-ups will be allowed, and I have done that, but this won't change. But even if you do have it in red, it's not a problem, because whenever you have a link that you have to open and it won't open, you right-click on your mouse, and then you choose an option called Open in a New Window, and every single pop-up window should open. And then you'll be taken to the class page, because after the login page, you'll be taken to a page where there is a list of classes you signed up for that are available online. And you'll pick this one, English 111, and you'll see the tabs at the top. Your tabs will be a little different, and you won't have these two. But most of the information for the class is contained under lessons. And then communication course mail is here. And once you get into the lesson section, you will see FAQs, syllabus, assignment due dates. My recommendation is for you to print this out and post it everywhere in your room. Literature block, once again, contribute at least once, but feel free to contribute as many times as you like. And then the rest is organized by weeks. Okay, how to ace the class. Log in regularly, of course. My recommendation is to do it at least every other day. Do not procrastinate. This is hugely important, and if you have taken online classes, you will know that if you were to sum up the advice needed for people to succeed in online classes, you will probably pick this, right? Do not procrastinate. Do not procrastinate. Participate. Okay, sometimes you might find it a little intimidating to discuss literature or pieces of work with your peers who sound like they have read everything under the sun. Okay, we might have some people like that, and we might have some people who haven't really read a single novel. Okay, this is not some kind of a race or a competition. Okay, this class is basically a literature appreciation class. So, but think of it this way. When you're little, you probably saw some older kids playing a game that you're not familiar with. And one of the older kids, probably a very kind-hearted one, might have invited you to join them and taught you how to play the game. So I want it to be that kind of relationship between people who've read everything and those who haven't read much. Okay, so literature is obviously something that excites a lot of people. A lot of people are passionate about it. So don't you kind of wonder, like, what is it about literature? I'd like to know. I mean, if it excites some people, hey, I'm open to the possibility of finding out what it is that blows up other people's skirts or pants. And complete all the assignments in a timely manner, of course, and enjoy. And if you do all of these, then you will be a pretty competent surfer on the web. Okay, what will I get out of this? It looks like a lot of work, but is it worth it? Okay, you will get out of this class an appreciation for literature, foundational knowledge of literature, academic writing skills, analytical skills, because literature is all about digging deep for hidden meanings. I know some of you are rolling your eyes already. Computing skills. And after that, you'll be ready for other literature classes, and I hope you will have a renewed appreciation for all things artistic, and even appreciation for life itself. Thank you.